Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Liam Douglas here with Liam Photography, and in today's video we're going to be taking a look at the UPERFECT 15.6 inch 4K portable monitor. But before we get into all the details of this product, let's go ahead and roll the intro. Okay, so as I mentioned before the intro, we're taking a look today at the UPERFECT 15.6 inch 4K portable display. So let's go ahead and open the box here. Inside, of course, we have our portable monitor, but we'll set that aside for a moment. We have a 30-watt USB-C power supply in the box. Let me go ahead and see if I can get this out. Show it to you. Comes with a very nice 30-watt power supply. As I mentioned, it is USB-C, so that makes things convenient. We also have the instruction manual, a set of VESA mount screws, and we have some cables. Now this is the mini to full-size HDMI cable, as well as one USB-C to USB-C cable, and another USB-C to USB-C cable. Now, it is really convenient that they give you so many cables with this monitor because it can be set up in a couple of different ways. The way I generally use it, I have two of this particular monitor, and the reason is I used to have a 32-inch Samsung monitor on my primary desk in my office that I used for my day job in IT, but over the last several months, I've been doing a lot more writing code, and between that and working in Linux servers in the command line all the time, I kind of like the idea, as I did years ago when I worked in the web hosting industry, of having two monitors, one that's in landscape orientation and one that's in portrait for when I'm writing code and working in the terminal, because I like to be able to see as much of my history and my code at one time in the monitor that's set to portrait orientation. So I recently switched back to using two monitors, and I decided to go with these. Now, I had looked at some other portable monitors online. There's a name brand company, ViewSonic, that makes a really nice 4K OLED touchscreen monitor the same size as this, but those monitors are about $520 a piece. And I wasn't crazy about spending $1,100 almost. With sales tax, it probably would have been a little over $1,100 for a pair of those monitors. Now, don't get me wrong, ViewSonic makes great monitors. They always have. But it just seemed a bit cost prohibitive to me. Now, they do offer other models in their line. They have a 1080p version, which I didn't want that low resolution version. And but they did not offer a non-touchscreen version of the 4K OLED. That was one of the big things with the ViewSonic model, and I'm sure that's part of the high cost, is not only the OLED panel, but the fact that it's a touchscreen. And if you've been following me for any amount of time, you know I'm primarily a Linux and Mac OS user, and Mac OS doesn't support touchscreens at all in its desktop operating system, so that would be kind of a waste of money. So I was looking for an alternative when I came across these UPERFECT displays, doing a web search for similar technology, you know, a portable 15.6 16-inch monitor that had 4K resolution. Now, this one is not OLED, it's an IPS panel, but it's still an extremely great monitor, and I love the fact that it's 4K resolution and takes up minimal space. Now, let me show you what the actual monitor looks like. It comes with this protective cover that you can keep on it if you're traveling. That's what these are primarily made for, traveling. So you can use them with your laptop and stuff like that. But I use them on my desktop as my primary monitors, a pair of them. So this is the monitor itself and what it looks like. And I apologize for the reflection from my light there. So this is the monitor itself. Now, on the back side, you'll see that it does have a miniature-sized VESA mount. It does have 4 screw holes there, so you can put it on a VESA mount, mount it on your wall, put it on a stand. I actually have a dual monitor stand that I have bolted to the top of my desk, and it has a pair of arms out like this, and I could mount both of these monitors to that stand and have one stand for everything. Now, the magnetic case does also work as a stand if you fold it over in a triangle form factor, kind of like you would with your iPad stand, iPad case slash stand. And look at this. This thing is incredibly thin. Look at how thin this monitor is. It's crazy. This thing is only a few millimeters in thickness. Now, the thickest part, of course, is down here at the bottom, and I'm sure that's where all of the circuitry is. On this side, it has some ports. It has a headphone jack. It has the power button, and it has the volume up and down knob because these do have built-in speakers. And then it also has a micro USB port on this side. And on the opposite side, we have 2 USB-C ports and the micro HDMI. So we do have all of those ports on this particular monitor, and they give you a variety of ways to hook it up. Now, what I primarily do, because I use a Mac Mini as my desktop computer at home, and as you may know, Mac Minis don't put out a tremendous amount of power via their USB-C ports. So what I do is I can hook this monitor up to my Mac Mini with one cable. Now let me preface, like I said, I'm using 2 of these monitors. So one I have hooked up on the left side in landscape mode or orientation, and I have that one plugged into the Mac Mini's HDMI port, and then I use one of the 2 USB-C ports on the monitor to supply power to it, using the power brick that comes with it. Now, on the second monitor, of course, a Mac Mini doesn't have dual HDMI ports, so the second one I have to use USB-C from the Mac Mini to deliver video to it. Now, that one cable will supply both video and power, but since the Mac Mini's USB-C ports don't put out large amounts of power, wattage and stuff like that, the monitor works, but it's fairly dim, which I don't like. So of course I have both of mine plugged into external power using their 30-watt power brick plugged into a standard 110 outlet, and I get great brightness, and the colors are very vibrant on this monitor. The resolution of 4K is fantastic. I really love it. Now, of course, the second monitor, which I have turned into the portrait orientation, I can't use 4K resolution in portrait mode, but that's fine. It doesn't really matter. I can still use, I think it's like 3K resolution or something like that in the portrait orientation, which is absolutely fine for my use case and my needs. So I'm going to go ahead and put this monitor on a portable stand that I have for when I travel, and I'm going to hook it up to my MacBook Pro so that you can get an idea of what it looks like when it's actually in operation. Okay, so now as you can see, I have the monitor hooked up to my 14-inch M1 Pro MacBook Pro, and it is a very nice display. I just have it set up for screen mirroring right now. At least I think I do, maybe not. Hold on, let me change the settings here. And let's go into displays and built-in display, blah, blah, blah. There we go, set it up as a mirrored display. And that way you can see exactly what I'm doing on my MacBook Pro. So I'm just demonstrating the monitor itself and how it looks and everything. It is a very sleek, stylish looking monitor. I absolutely love the design aesthetic that UPERFECT went with on this particular screen. I just personally think it looks really, really good, and that the screen works really well. So let me set my resolution, because it does do 3840 by 2160 full 4K. And there we go. And now we can go ahead and open up, say, a web browser just so you can see it. So there we have it here, and we can go to some place like YouTube and pull up some random content so you can see how the screen looks. Oops, I went into the wrong part here. There we go. All right, so let's go to YouTube itself. So there you have it. We have some really, really Nice visuals here. Let's pull up a random iPhone 17 video just so you can see how the screen looks. And I'm going to go to full screen mode. And as you can see, the visuals are really good. The picture is excellent quality. I'll skip this silly ad. And this is just a random YouTube channel that I pulled up that does a lot of content on Apple devices. But as you can see, and I apologize if it doesn't come through well enough in a YouTube video, but the resolution on this screen is really, really good. The picture is beautiful. The colors are very vibrant. These are just really, really excellent monitors. And the nice thing is they're only a fraction of the price of the ViewSonic ones that I was looking at originally. That I wanted to get, but like I said, they were a lot more expensive because they were OLED and touchscreen monitors, which touchscreen with Mac OS is pretty useless because you can't leverage the touchscreen functionality at all with that particular operating system. I don't know why Apple's never added touch controls to the Mac OS desktop interface. I honestly don't think they ever will, which is kind of a shame. You know, Windows has it for their operating system. I'm not sure, but I think my favorite Linux OS, Ubuntu, supports touchscreens as well, because I know you can put Ubuntu on tablets. But these monitors are very, very nice, very good quality monitors. They just look fantastic. There's no two ways about it. And I love the fact that with a pair of these side by side, one in landscape and one in portrait orientation, I just get a really, really nice pair of displays that I can use for my daily IT job, which is extremely nice. It just makes things a little more convenient for me. Like I said, when I'm writing a lot of code, I like to have the second monitor in the portrait orientation, just because it works better for me in my particular use case. Now, you may find differently. Maybe that's not the way you want to use them. Maybe you want to use them both in landscape orientation. That's perfectly fine. But they are designed so that I can easily just rotate it on the stand that I have, as you can see here. Rotated into the portrait orientation, not all the way because my cables are a little bit in the way. Now, one thing you may want to look at doing, which I did with mine, is I opted to go with the with buying some right angle cables so that they don't stick down so far on the bottom of the stand here and kind of get in the way. You see what I mean here with the cables, the factory cables? But make sure you get a USB-C cable that is made to distribute power, and make sure you get another one that's specifically made for 4K resolution. The ones I bought are actually made for up to 8K resolution, so they work extremely well. So when I have it set up in this orientation on my desk in my home office where I do all of my work, I don't have to worry about the cables getting in the way as much, because they're right angle cables, so they're very low profile, sticking out of the side of the monitor, well, bottom, because I have mine turned in the portrait orientation. But it works really well. These monitors are absolutely fantastic. I can't remember what they cost. I'll put the price down below, and I'll probably add it into the video as I edit it. I want to say they were $189, but I could be wrong. Somewhere around there, so considerably cheaper than $519 for the ViewSonic ones that I was originally looking at. Now, the nice thing about UPERFECT is they do offer quite a selection of these portable monitors. They have some that are specifically for gaming, where it's two monitors that are on a factory mount and they're already stacked like this, over under. They have them in various sizes. They have 14-inch, 15.6, 16, 18. They also have one that's a 24-inch. But depending on your needs, I looked through the catalog of their various monitors on their website, and some of them are only available in 1080p, which may be fine for you, but not for me personally. I would rather have, 2.5, 3, or 5K or 4K resolution. for my particular use case. Now, another nice thing about these monitors is you can actually use them with anything that takes HDMI or USB-C video output. So you could hook this thing up to your Xbox, your PlayStation, you could hook it up to your Nintendo Switch, you could hook it up to your iPad, your iPhone, whatever the case may be. You could use these screens in a large variety of ways, which makes them extremely handy and extremely versatile. And being they're so super small and compact, I think the monitor only weighs like a pound, something like that. So it's ridiculously light, ridiculously thin, and yet very, very well performing. I've been extremely impressed with these monitors. I can highly recommend them to you out there, my viewers, just because they are really fantastic technology in a nice, portable, lightweight, thin form factor. And just help to make our lives a little bit more convenient, in my opinion. Maybe you think differently. Maybe you prefer bigger, bulkier monitors. I don't. I like to conserve as much of my desktop real estate as possible. And having these mounted on a pair of arms that are up in the air above my desk is just a lot more handy and convenient for me. And it leaves more of my desk space open for other things like my keyboard and trackpad, memory card readers and stuff like that that I use all the time. For me, it's just a lot more convenient. All right, that's going to wrap up this video. Please remember to subscribe to the channel down below, turn on all notifications, and I will see you in the next video.